and I just want to make sure that we have gone live. Hoping you guys can see it over here on Behance as well. Looks like I'm just behind the times, but I think we're good. All right, guys, so today what we have in store for you guys is something awesome. So with that said, let's talk about it. By the way, let me go ahead and share my screen. So our amazing monitors, or moderators, Sam, Paco, the peeps. If you guys are wanting to see, if you guys are new to this, you guys can see exactly where we can get into this week's Daily Creative Challenge. What it is, I'll talk about it, but links are down in the description, whether you're on YouTube or Behance. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I am sharing my screen. We have our challenges all the way from really the start of this week all the way to August 20th. And by the way, don't forget to join our amazing community so you guys can talk to our mentors, people from Adobe, the peeps, as well as an amazing community of designers there as well. So let's talk about today's challenge. Today we are going to be designing a really cool navigation bar. Really, this challenge is to design a navigation bar and then give it a unique interaction using prototype mode. So what we have today is we're going to try to reenact this amazing piece by Dmitry Lawrensky in Adobe XD, and we'll see how far we can get. I'm pretty sure I timed it pretty well this time, but let's see what we can do. All right. So let's go ahead and move into, I'm actually going to show you guys the prototype that I built out just a little bit so you guys can see what we'll be building here and what you can do as well. So this is what I have so far and what we'll be doing together today. And it's super simple. Ta-da! Pretty simple. So that's essentially what we'll be building today in XD, but from scratch. So if you guys open up your starter file, you guys will probably not see these screenshots or what I've written over here. You guys will simply just see this artboard right here. And that's what we're going to start with. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play it safe today. We have short time. So all I'm going to do is going to take this, I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm just going to duplicate this about like 3 times. Reason being is I want to mimic the up and down movements of what we have in this animation here, where it bounces. We press it, it goes, it makes that noise too, and then it animates out. So we're gonna focus on that first sort of bounce animation. And by the way, very quickly, because I know some of you guys are 100% new to XD as well, if you're curious about how shapes like this were made, it's pretty simple. Just draw yourself a nice little rectangle, turn the radius all the way up, remove the border, double click your shape, and now you have this little pen tool. Drop a little point in the center, to the left and right of that point. And you can get really exact if you want to. We have time today, guys. We're trying to be time conscious today. Pull it down, and we have a little divot here. And you guys can kind of mess around with how you want to have this. Straighten these out, double click my points here. Ta-da. So you guys can mess around with your version here, but you guys already have stuff like this in your starter XD file, which you can download down below if you haven't already. All right, so let's get into the swing of things with what we have here. So what we want is, as soon as we press this button in our prototype, we want the movement to start happening, the little splash animation. So what we're gonna do is, in this frame, we're gonna think about these as frames. We're gonna pull this up, and we're gonna start with our first splash here. So this point, I'm gonna pull up, and I'm going to, rather make it than smooth, I'm gonna double click it to make it sharp. I can pull this wherever I want. Boom. Next one, I want it to come back down, and also I want to make sure that these are at the same height in their artboard. Okay, so I just selected both and just horizontally aligned them. Alright, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring this up to center, or excuse me, to basically where it should be, flat. I'm going to bring it down a little bit, double click, so now it's a sharp point rather than a curve. So when we click this button, it will go up, or this button will push up, this point will go up, the next frame it will go down, and then the next frame, make sure this, I'm just gonna make sure all of these are in the right spot here. Vertically align, or excuse me, horizontally align. And then I'm going to push this up just a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's step by step, let's prototype this. So I'm gonna click on my circle just right here, go to prototype. I'm gonna drag it to my first artboard here. The trigger is gonna be tap, transition. We want that auto animate. We always do snap, guys. We want that, we want the snappiness. Duration, we can play with this. We'll do 0.4 for now. And now all I'm gonna do, because since we're thinking of these as frames, right? We're gonna select the artboard this time rather than an asset. The artboard, I'm gonna drag this over to the other artboard, and rather than the trigger being tap, we're gonna do time. We want 0 delay because we want this to be a frame. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're just gonna drag this, and let me explain. So I'm just clicking this artboard and just pulling across to the next artboard. Why do I do that and not have to mess with the options? It's because once the previous options that I've set for whatever I'm prototyping, it sticks with the next thing that I prototype. So everything that I did here, it kind of just copied Adobe Smart Like That or XD Smart Like That, or both rather, and everything that I set previously now is set to what I'm currently working on. All right, so let's check this out. Hey, what's going on, Annika? Glad to have you. Good job on your Adobe debut. Excellent work. All right, so let's press play here, and I'm gonna go ahead and click this. All right, so we have the bounce, but now we have to mess with the timing. It basically, our little asset was like oompa loompa. I mean, that's great, but we want to make it a little bit faster. We're not here in the trying to get chocolate, okay? If you guys didn't get that reference, I'm truly getting old. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Oompa Loompas. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to prototyping, and we're gonna decrease our duration here. We're gonna see what we can do at 0.2. And what that's gonna do for us is just speeding that up, down, up, down. Click, boom. All right. Now I think what we might do, because it's still like, you know what? I think this is the trick. We're gonna take out the easing. We're not gonna do snap. We're gonna do none. That way it's actually linear. All right, so let's check this out. I'm gonna need to cheat really quick. I need to see what I did this before. Don't judge me. All right. We did easing none 0.2. I figured. Easing none 0.2. All right. So we're on the right track. It's just that this first one. Easing none. We're going to do 0.2. That'll hopefully speed some things up. Press play. There we go. Okay. So we have that first part, the bounce. And of course, we can always spend a little bit more time on it, refine it a little bit, but I want to make sure that we get to everything today and then refine it when we have some extra time, because we're already at 10 minutes. So what we're going to do next is from here, we're going to duplicate this one more time. We're actually going to duplicate it one more time after this. But what we're going to do from here is we need to kind of create this asset. Remember, as soon as this bounces, right, it spreads out. So let's go ahead and make that. All right, oops, wrong one. Let me actually just close that. I have so many XD pieces open right now, guys. There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is now this, at this point in our animation, this has flattened out. So we're gonna pull that down. But now we're gonna work on this circle piece. So what do we have to do in order for that circle to stretch out? I'll show you. First off, actually there was an even simpler way of doing this. I made this a circle, so we can't actually animate the circle. If I were to do this again, I would make this a square, turn the radius all the way up or till it's a circle. That way I could expand it this way. But for the sake of time, and if you guys have the time, so you guys can go ahead and do that. But for this example, I'm gonna kind of fake it till I make it, okay? I'm gonna make myself my own square around the same size of this rectangle, or excuse me, let's go back to kindergarten, Brandon. This circle, around the same size as this circle. Turn the radius up, and I am going to take the color of this circle, purple. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do here is, I'm gonna put this behind our circle here. So when we get here, I actually do a couple things. So I'm gonna actually name this. So we're gonna name this purple stretch. Cool. And I'm gonna bring purple stretch over to this layer as well. And I'll explain why in just a moment. I'm gonna put this behind our circle here. And I'm gonna do the same here. All right. Because what we want to have happen as soon as we move from this layer over to this layer, we want this, let's see, yeah, we want this to move, or rotate, and turn invisible essentially. And this is group 64. We want our stretch, our purple stretch, we want it to expand just a little bit. And what we need to do here is we need to make sure that there's our the loading of our icons essentially. Hey, what's going on, Moat of Void? Glad to have you here, my friend. So essentially we're making this, and again, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna steal this. We're just gonna click all these circles, and we're gonna copy. We're gonna come over to our artboard, and we're gonna paste these friends in here. If you guys, very simple, drawing circles. Press E on your keyboard, draw those babies out, okay? All right, so now what we're gonna do is we want these to animate out from the center of our mobile app, or from this purple stretch asset that we have. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna group these. We're gonna call these circles. And we are going to copy circles from this artboard, again, back to this artboard. Now what we're gonna do and why is we are gonna squeeze, I'm holding Alt, and I'm gonna squeeze these assets or these circles into one another. Here, just essentially in a circle. Because if we animate this, what you guys will see is, and that's why I grouped them so I can pull them all together. Once we animate from this artboard to this artboard, the circles will go and spread out horizontally. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take this and we're gonna push this behind our group 64, which is our button and cross here. And we are going to set up a prototype because, or start setting up prototyping so we can test this out. So I'm going to pull this over from one artboard to the next, and the trigger, we just want to do time. And again, easing none, delay none, thinking of it as if it were a frame. So let's check. Let's do some troubleshooting. So we're gonna press play, click our button, 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, cool. We have like half of it. All right, now we want to do, we're gonna copy this one more time. And we are gonna get our icons in there. Now, quick tip for those of you who are new to XD, or just like, all right, Brandon, where do I get icons so I don't have to leave XD? And it's just super easy. Just download the plugin Icons for Design. It will save you a million times, because if you type anything in here from tree to apple, you can get it, okay? And it's an SVG, it's not a PNG, so you can actually click into this and edit it if you wanted to and make a super tall tree, okay? Or an adventurer's sword. All right, let me grab these icons very quickly. So I'm gonna copy these, they're all grouped. And I'm gonna bring them over here. I'm gonna paste them. They are naturally in the way that I put them, so we could very simply copy and paste this in here and save us some time. So I'm gonna try to align these with the circles that I have in here. And what I'm going to do, just like we did with the circles previously, right? To expand them, we went from here, we copied and pasted this group to the previous artboard, shrunk them down. We're gonna do the same thing, because in XD, we need to think about before and after when it comes to animating. So this is where we want our icons to end up. And I'm actually, before I do that, in this screen, we want our circles actually to vanish. So we're gonna turn down the opacity, because that's how we want them to look when we're in this screen. I can adjust my icons a little bit more, get them centered. All right, so now I'm gonna copy this group. I think that's the circles. Yeah, I copied the circles. I'm gonna copy my group of icons, pop them in here, and I'm going to turn the opacity. I can do two things if I wanted. If I really wanted to get super fancy, I could click my icons, hold Shift and Alt, not the Windows button, Brandon. I can hold Alt and Shift and scale these down a little bit, so that in the next screen, they actually scale up into place and the opacity turns up. So we're gonna try that. So just scaling these down. If I really had the time, I would try to keep the sizing around the same, but we have time to keep track of, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I'm just selecting all of my icons here, as well as this line. Opacities drop to 0. All right, so let's play. We're gonna go back to our prototyping tab, and same thing. We're gonna click on our artboard. I'm gonna drag this arrow over top, and again, the way that we're doing everything today, we're thinking about everything in frames. So our trigger is time, 0 delay. We just wanted to go over to the next artboard, and our duration is 0.2. And we could probably even do it faster if we did 0.1. So let's see what we have. Let's do our testing. Bruce says tree. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna click our button here. Got a little bounce. Oh, there. Oh, put oh in the chat if you dug that, or just hit the like button, one or the other. All right, so that's the forward way. The backward way, now that we have this, we want to be able to click the close button and have it go back. So let's go through it. And it's this simple. Watch this, guys. I think it might be as simple as, you know what? Oh, no. All right, this is how I'm gonna do it. And there might be a smarter way of doing this, but I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out on your lonesome. Come back and report for tomorrow. All right, so I'm gonna take all of these that we have done. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna duplicate them, and I'm going to prototype going the opposite way. Bruce says ooh. Trey says ooh with many U's. All right, I dig it. All right, so I'm gonna click my close button here. I'm gonna bring this over here, and again, we're switching back to tap. So the trigger is tap, easing none, duration 0.2, and now we're gonna do our artboards. So clicking the artboards, everything should be time. Time, delay 0, easing none, duration 0. And now I don't really have to look at that panel anymore because I know those settings are everything that I need that I want to use for these. So I'm just gonna click my artboards, go back, and kind of do a full circle when we are back at the home page. So this is what this looks like, and I would actually, you know, my instinct is to go back this way, right? Because we're using the same animations, but the way that we built it, it's with frames. So if we were trying to go back this way, the timing and the interactions that we set up here want us to go from left to right rather than, so if we went back here, we would just be pushed forward in the animation. So I've duplicated everything and which helps us take us back. All right, rather than where, so let's just look, because this is gonna be easier to explain what we've done. So we click, boom, 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 ta-da! Now we click. There we go, look. Excelente. That's it. So ladies and gentlemen, I expect absolute fire for day number 2. Nothing short of awesome in our Discord. And speaking of Discord, let's actually look at what we have submitted yesterday. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there was some really cool stuff in here. By the way, if you are new to our Discord, where you guys submit your challenges are in the feedback section within challenges. So, by the way, just quick shout out to, whoops, I definitely scrolled too hard on that one. Shout out to Mayor. This was pretty cool. The design, the hover, the colors utilized, and wait for it. Wait till he hits that button. Hold on, wait. All right, the aura kind of did a little party dance, but hit that sign. Ooh, ooh. I think we need another ooh in the chat, guys. That was pretty dope. So Mayor, that was awesome. There was more. There was a lot of really cool things in here, guys. And keep submitting your work. Like, practice makes habits, not perfect. And you guys did some really cool things. I'm trying to very quickly scroll through some with the time that we have. I'm sure that you guys could. Let me actually zoom into that. I loved what you actually did here with that nice little undulating wave at the top. That was really cool. And again here with the nice little goo, the slime. Eric says, ooh. Yeah, there was some pretty cool stuff in here, guys. And I love this one as well. I was trying to figure out, I think this was like a page turn. That was really cool. I want to know how to do that. All right, let's talk. So how do you export? That's a great question. So it depends on what you want to export. First things first, if you want to export the video, very simply, if you are on a Mac, you would just press this button and wonderful things will happen and you can record you using your prototype. Number 2, if you're like me, I have my own way. It works pretty easily. I just download a screen recorder. It's literally called Screen Rec, where I can record my prototype just like this and I can work through it. Or very simply, you just select your screens, hit Control E or Command E if you're on a Mac, and just export your beautiful designs as PNGs, SVGs, PDFs, what have you. And then from there, you just bring them to your lovely Behance profile. If I can remember which tab, here we go. You upload your design, you make sure to add the XD Daily Challenge tag to your work, and you just hit upload your project. And the Adobe gods will be able to curate your amazing challenge work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so with that said, that is day number 2 of XD Daily Challenge, and I'm super excited to see what you guys have. With that said, thank you again, Eric, Mezayu, Bruce, Sam, Frank, Penny, Trey. I'm about to drop every name in the chat, but I want to say thank you. Don't forget to be back here again, or be square, same time, same place tomorrow for another Daily Creative Challenge with me, your host, Brandon Gross. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace. Have a great day.